Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Shehu Said. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given assurances that Nigerians that the recent surge in violence and insecurity will not be allowed to destabilize the nation. He says the government is taking decisive action to protect citizens and restore peace. The president made the remarks during an extended high-level security session at the State House, Abuja. Kikelomo Okere has details.
Security meeting brought together top defense and intelligence officials, the service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and the Director General of the Department of State Service, Oluwatosin Adeola Ajayi. Addressing State House correspondent, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Waheed Shaibu, says the high-level meeting reflects the President's ongoing engagement with security stakeholders to accelerate rescue operations, strengthen counter-kidnapping efforts, and restore stability across the nation.
Presently, we are receiving very good, positive news from Kwara State, where the entire 38 people that were abducted have been reunited with their families. And progress is also made from Niger State, whereby we have about 51 of those students that have now reunited with their families. For Kebbi State, our efforts are also yielding positive results. Progress is being made substantially in that aspect.
The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, says, in the view of the current security challenges facing the country, President Tinubu is desirous of boosting police presence in all communities. The President ordered the withdrawal of police officers currently providing security for very important persons in the country.
Emergency meeting of the Service Chief with the Inspector General of Police with Mr. President is to review recent incidents of abduction of school children in Kebbi and in Niger, an attack on vulnerable communities. Went further to give orders to us, orders which include the immediate action to free the police from VIP protection and provide more men for the ongoing fight.
With coordinated action from the nation's security agencies and the President's direct oversight, the government assures Nigerians that restoring peace and safeguarding lives remains its top priority. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
Well done, Kike. In response to the escalating security crisis in the region, the 19 northern governors have scheduled an emergency meeting for November 29, 2025 to be held in Kaduna. The planned meeting is coming on the heels of a parley by the Southwest governors, which took place at the Oyo State Governor's office in Ibadan. The Southwest governors resolved that it is time for the creation of state police to address the growing incidents of bandit attacks. And the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has expressed worry over the rise in insecurity across the country. This comes as over 300 students and staff were abducted in Niger State and 25 students kidnapped in Kebbi within 1 week. Our correspondent Ubong Usoro reports.
Of fear, tension, and tears across northern Nigeria as armed groups carried out multiple attacks on schools, abducting hundreds of students. But the People's Democratic Party says the federal government's response has been slow, weak, and dangerously close to conceding ground. The PDP National Publicity Secretary, Ini Ememobong, warned that moves by some state governments and the federal government to shut down schools amount to giving terrorists exactly what they want: an end to formal education in northern Nigeria.
In response to this, different state governments in the affected region have taken disparate measures, while the federal government has yet to give any concrete direction.
The party notes that the North already accounts for most of Nigeria's 18.3 million out-of-school children, according to UNICEF. A further closure of schools, it says, would deepen the crisis and embolden criminal groups.
If the schools are closed, the goal of the terrorists would have inadvertently been achieved.
The PDP also said asking the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, to relocate to Kebbi State is not a solution to the problem, as there are other states being affected by insurgency. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Security, a wave of student abductions in parts of the country has heightened fear among parents and forced the closure of some schools. Security experts warn that the trend is deepening public anxiety and worsening the nation's security outlook. Zahra Nasir examines the situation in this report.
The growing incidents of school abductions have once again placed insecurity at the center of national concern. Beyond the physical threats, insecurity has created a climate of fear impacting education, disrupting social services, and weakening economic activity across communities. Residents who spoke to Global Television said the rising cases demand urgent and decisive action from the federal government. They stressed that protecting lives and property remains the primary responsibility of the state.
Some of these people are the people that actually voted for you to come into office. So I feel like the government should at least put more efforts
in life and property. But that does not even limit at the government level. It has to be a holistic approach. We have to involve each and every one of us. Because security, if you are talking about security, lies within us, with the citizens.
If there is no security, people cannot walk freely. If there is no security, then nobody can go to market and buy something. Look at the cost of things like inflation rise, inflation situation that is affecting the country. Is it not the issue of insurgency and Boko Haram and all these things?
A security analyst, Comrade Salih Udentata Mahmoud, believes that tackling the problem must include strengthening the welfare and operational conditions of security personnel, especially the police and the military. He explains that improved welfare will boost morale and enhance their effectiveness on the field. Security experts maintain that Nigeria's insecurity challenge has far-reaching consequences, slowing national development, deepening economic strength, and further eroding public confidence in governance.
It will boost the morale. That's what they call morale. The morale of officers of armed forces and the police and DSS and other is high when the welfare is okay. Because if he knows there is nothing to look outside, there won't be any. Some of these ambushes you are seeing, they don't just happen.
As communities continue to grapple with these threats, many are calling for a more coordinated response to restore safety in schools and reassure parents across the country. Zahra Nasir reported for Global TV News.
In the meantime, the Zamfara state government says it is not considering shutting down schools despite rising insecurity across parts of the country. Instead, it has introduced measures to protect learning centers and ensure pupils and students attend classes without fear of bandit attacks. The State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Wadatau Madawaki, stated this while addressing journalists at an event organized by the Federated Association of Zamfara State Students in Gusau, the state capital. Saadat Garba has the details.
The recent abduction of 25 students of Government Comprehensive Secondary School Maga in Danko Wasagu local government area of Kebbi State, as well as the attack on St. Mary Catholic School in Niger State, has forced some states to shut down schools as a precautionary measure. But the Zamfara state government insists it will not follow that path. Instead, it says it is strengthening security around schools to prevent bandit attacks. Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Wadato Madawaki, explained that many of the states closing schools operate boarding schools, while Zamfara now runs mainly day schools due to insecurity. He noted that some schools that were previously closed in the state remain shut down until security improves.
The security of the children, the security of the students is well taken care of. We are in contact with all the security agencies, and they are giving us all the necessary support that we are asking for to ensure that as our schools continue to operate.
The students' body, the Federated Association of Zamfara State Students, emphasized that implementing local scholarships will help students concentrate on their studies without financial distraction.
We have been battling with that very issue, You know, there is no single month that as student leader, you will not receive a complaint or complaints from students in regards to this issue of registration. So we were advocating and calling on the Zamfara state government to please revive the scholarship scheme.
The Executive Secretary of the Zamfara State Scholarship Board, Professor Rashida Liman, highlighted ongoing efforts by Governor Dauda Lawal's administration to enhance student welfare and improve scholarship support for those in tertiary institutions.
So concerning scholarship, we're doing everything possible to ensure that we do not leave any students behind. So far, so many things have been done already. I can give you a few instances of what His Excellency Dr. Dauda Lawal has been able to do in this short time of his administration. Just recently, some students were given scholarship in Nigerian Aviation College to study as pilots.
The students also used the platform to recognize Governor Dauda Lawal's government official and distinguish Zamfara citizens for their contribution to the education development of the state. Sa'adat Garba for Global Television.
And away from security matters, the National Assembly Legislative Aids Forum has moved to strengthen collective desire to pursue parliamentary and democratic development in Africa by organizing a maiden conference comprising all African countries practicing democracy. The chairman of the forum, Emeka Nwala, made this known at a press briefing in preparation towards the maiden conference intended to hold in Abuja soon. Topsy Gimba has details.
Emeka Nwala said that the forum is not unaware of the collapse of democracy in some African nations, resulting in the return of military governance in countries such as Niger, Gabon, Mali, Burkina Faso, thereby making parliamentary structures in some African nations struggling due to weak democratic institutions. He said these worrisome realities echo the urgent need to prioritize initiatives desired to strengthen African legislative aids to play efficient role to consolidate democracy in the region.
We are not unaware of the collapse of democracy in some African nations, resulting in the return of military governance in countries such as Niger, Gabon, Mali, Burkina Faso, and so on. It is also evidence-based that parliamentary structures in some African nations are struggling due to weak democratic institutions. These worrisome realities echo the urgent need to prioritize initiatives desired to strengthen African legislative aids to play effective role to consolidate democracy in the region.
Emeka Nwala said the planned conference will also explore the growing strategic roles of legislative aids in legislative research, democratic accountability, digital governance, and institutional performance as critical areas to build desirable legislative aids assets.
It is important to note that this initiative is largely significant in the history of Africa. This is the first time African legislative aids are coming together to brainstorm, build networks, partnerships, and capacities for the common good and development of the region.
Speaker at the conference will be Mr. Jema Nunu Kumba of South Sudan Transitional National Legislative, and the keynote address will be delivered by the Nigeria's Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, and the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, among others, will form part of the conference. Over 7,000 aides from across African national parliaments are expected to participate at the maiden conference. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
A powerful symposium aimed at empowering young women and addressing critical social issues, including teenage pregnancy and its impact on families and communities, has brought together students, advocates, and filmmakers in the FCT. Global Television's Sadia Yakubu has the details.
It was an afternoon of reflection, dialogue and advocacy as women and youth gathered for Women's Voices in Focus, a symposium and film screening dedicated to amplifying the stories and struggles of girl child. Convener and film producer Maimuna Abaji Yahya, said education remains the most powerful tool for empowering girls, with the theme, Hear Her Story, Women's Voices Amplified. She appealed to parents, most especially mothers, to listen to their daughters rather than reject them, stressing that many teenage mothers face harsh discrimination that can lead to depression or even suicide.
And as an actor and a movie producer, I am looking at producing my next movie on the issue of unwanted pregnancies, teenage unwanted pregnancies. You would wonder why I am particular about that. It bothers me to know that when a woman gets pregnant out of wedlock too early, it becomes her crime. There is stigmatization and isolation that goes with it.
Maimuna also urged teenagers to prioritize self-development and avoid risky behavior, emphasizing that guidance is needed for both girls and boys. Artistic director of NESPA Art Studio, Adejo Ibrahim, described teenage pregnancy as an issue that requires open conversation. He said the problem is deeply connected to parenting, exploitation, and the victimization of young people, all of which must be confronted to protect the next generation.
Teenage pregnancy, as we know, is one of the major challenges that we are facing in our society. It borders on parenting, it borders on child molestation and victimization. It is also one of those issues that have continued to lead to social dysfunctionality of some young people and even adults today.
The event drew students from several secondary schools as well as dignitaries from across the country, all united in the call to uplift women's voices and promote safer, healthier communities. Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
You are watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When we return, Monetary Policy Committee may cut interest rate again today. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and we begin with business, where analysts are projecting that the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria will maintain its dovish stance with a rate cut of between 25 and 100 basis points expected as its November meeting concludes today. The Monetary Policy Committee had cut the rate for the first time in years at the September meeting, shaving 50 basis points off the benchmark rate to 27%. Under its current governor, Olayemi Cardoso, the CBN had maintained a hawkish stance as it sought to get a handle on inflation that hit record levels in 2024. And we move to the foreign scene, where the United Kingdom Home Office under Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has announced a policy to impose visa bans on countries that refuse to accept the return of their nationals who are in the UK illegally or have committed crimes. The governments of Angola, Namibia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo have been specifically targeted as the first countries facing potential sanctions. Edikan Michael reports.
The United Kingdom is preparing to restrict visa access for countries that fail to cooperate with the deportation of their citizens, marking one of the most aggressive immigration enforcement moves by the Labour government. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood signaled that the United Kingdom will adopt what officials describe as Trump-style visa bans, a policy aimed at compelling foreign governments to accelerate documentation and repatriation processes.
This country will always offer sanctuary to those fleeing danger. But we must also acknowledge that the world has changed, and our asylum system has not changed with it. Our world is a more volatile and more mobile place. Huge numbers are on the move. To the British public who foot the bill, the system feels out of control and unfair. It feels that way because it is. The pace and scale of change has destabilised communities. It is making our country a more divided place. I have no doubt about who we really are in this country. We are open, tolerant, and generous. But the public rightly expect that we can determine who enters this country and who must leave. It starts by accepting an uncomfortable truth.
According to Home Office, Angola, Namibia and the Democratic Republic of Congo rank among the countries likely to face the first wave of the restrictions. The decision will halt visa issuance to citizens of these countries until local authorities demonstrate improved willingness to receive the deported migrant and criminal offenders. They added that the three African nations have repeatedly stalled thousands of return cases, citing long delays in issuing travel documents and requirements that migrants sign their own return paperwork, a step many refuse, slowing their removal. The Home Office argues that the current system has constrained enforcement effort and contributed to a growing backlog in the deportation operations. The planned restrictions on the visa is part of the strategy of the United Kingdom to look at the framework of managing the pressures of immigrations and looking at the need. And they're also seeking out the means of managing the rights of the claims challenging the deportation orders in the United Kingdom. Edikan Michael reporting for Global TV News.
Edikan Michael there in London. The head of the Sudanese armed forces has rejected a ceasefire plan presented by the Quad, alleging that the United Arab Emirates' involvement in the Quad is biased and that the proposal aims to eliminate the army. The UAE has long rejected accusations that it is arming and funding the RSF. It slammed a Sudanese move to file a case against it in the International Court of Justice, calling the charges a cynical publicity stunt. In a response, the UAE's Minister of State for International Cooperation, Rim bint Ibrahim al-Hashimi, accused al-Burhan of consistently obstructive behavior. And we move to the sports scene, where Lazio have reportedly decided against reinstating Fisayo Dele Bashiru to their Serie A squad home game against List, despite the fact that he was fit. Dele Bashiru was cut off the Serie A squad in September following a muscle injury in the Rome derby against AS Roma, but has since recovered. He has not been reinstated. However, a leading Italian football outfit has offered the reason behind Dele Bashiru's present situation at Lazio, which is not unconnected with his possible recall for Super Eagles' campaign at next month's Africa Cup of Nations AFCON in Morocco. In the English Premier League, 10-man Everton held on for a rare and quite amazing Old Trafford victory after Idrissa Gueye was sent off for striking teammate Michael Keane after just 13 minutes against Manchester United. In quite incredible scenes, England goalkeeper Jordan Pickford had to hold Gueye back as he took exception to a few choice words from Keane after Everton had defended a United attack. Gueye got near enough to slap Keane on the cheek. The action triggered a red card from referee Tony Harrington and more choice words from Keane, who angrily gestured for Gueye to get off the pitch. And that wraps it up on Midday News, but a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global TVNG. I am Shehu Said saying good afternoon.